Dr. Hall, thank you very much for joining us. Now, you are part of the Children's Institute at UCT, I understand, and you started a petition calling for government to increase by 500 Rand the child grants. How much support has that petition received?
Well, there are nearly 600,000 signatures to it, and the petition followed on a letter which was written to the President and to Minister Zulu, the Minister of Social Development, which was signed by and endorsed by 35 organizations, including ourselves, UNICEF, a range of organizations in the children's sector, and then also those beyond the children's sector, the MRC, the Institute for Economic Justice, plus a range of organizations dealing with people in the informal sector. And the reason that this is more than just about children is because it's about simply, it's really a no-brainer, getting money reliably into the poorest households as quickly as possible. The principle is that the existing grant infrastructure that we have is the safest way to transfer cash to households so that they can buy food at this time.
It sounds like a great idea. Have you had a response from the President to your petition, which I understand you have sent to him?
Yes, there have been 2 letters widely endorsed and a petition which have been sent. There have also been calls from the People's Coalition, from the Institute for Economic Justice. NEDLAC has been in meetings. There is widespread agreement that increasing grants is an essential first step. We've had acknowledgement that those letters have been received, and we know that Cabinet is sitting right now. I believe they should be coming out in the next 20 minutes or so. So we're all really sitting, holding our breaths, waiting to hear what the decision will be. But really the idea is to increase grants, and we've chosen, if it has to be only one grant, it needs to be the child support grant, because that has the widest reach. It reaches into nearly a third of all households, and it reaches the households that are the poorest, and there's good alignment also with those that rely on income from the informal sector.
It makes sense on so many levels. 500 Rand, as you say, is the absolute minimum to get families through the lockdown period, and it would be for a period of 6 months. But of course the big question is, where can the money come from? Where could feasibly this money come from?
I don't think there's really concern about that. I mean, there have been so many options mentioned. The problem is that we're used to thinking within the constrained fiscal envelope. This is not budget as usual. There are many pots of money. There are reserves that exist in the country. There are the possibilities of working with securities, of printing money. So
tell us of all those options, which you think is the most feasible, which you think government should go for.
Well, from what economists who have been making these proposals have been saying is that we should be rapidly accessing the reserves in the investment reserves in both the UIF and in private and public pension schemes, which are rapidly losing value, as all investments are, and rather be inserting those into households and at the same time helping to kickstart local economies and keep the informal sector going. We need to have something of the economy left when we come out of this crisis. And a lockdown is effectively shutting down the economy. So we need to inject money there now to keep the economy going and to keep households surviving.
A lot of people are involved in the drive to raise money, to hand out food parcels. Government has an intervention. They are ramping up that. We've seen members of the public and the private sector really getting on board. Is that not enough to assist people? Why do we need this extra money? Because that money that you talk about could be used for other things, perhaps to restart businesses, for example, after the lockdown.
Yeah, we need that too. So what we need is a range of things. We need an urgent first step now, which is money into households. We're already seeing the impact of rising hunger because jobs have been lost. So that has to be addressed immediately. And grants are an existing mechanism. We can get that money out quickly. Actually, the decision has to be made today. This is really the last day it can be made and announced in order for SASSA to be able to change the grant amounts for the May pay run. So that's really urgent. That's an immediate difference that can be made. Then there are other options for income support, a special covered grant to reach the households that are not reached that way, the option of a basic income grant, a once-off disaster relief grant for adults who are unemployed, who have lost their jobs. There are all kinds of income relief, and that really is the best option for households. Food parcels are going out, but they can never reach the scale that's needed, and you lose a huge amount of the value in the administrative costs of getting them out. And we've also seen the social difficulties that arise because it's very hard to achieve anything that looks like an equitable distribution of food when everybody is hungry. So that's the household level interventions. Another possibility is food vouchers. But income support really is the best way to reach a large number of people. And then in addition to that, of course, we need to have, there's already been some work put into wage guarantee schemes and then business support. So those are kind of the different legs of what needs to happen. But really, the questions about where did the money come from and can we afford this are, to put it in perspective, South Africa went into this pandemic and the lockdown with the highest levels of inequality in the world, with extremely high levels of poverty and inequality and unemployment. We were quick to enforce a lockdown, which has certainly been successful from a public health perspective in slowing the spread of the virus, but we have been extremely slow to put in place any of the humanitarian interventions that other countries have. So across the world, we've seen massive social protection programs to protect households and businesses from the worst economic effects of lockdown. And as I say, we are just all waiting with bated breath tonight to hear what government is going to announce. And we need that urgent announcement of an increase to the social welfare grants to go out immediately.
Well, we'll certainly be watching that with you as well. Thank you very much, Dr. Catherine Hall from the Children's Institute at the University of Cape Town.